Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and what I got for you today is a really neat review. This is, if you can tell by this little MI here, is the new Me drone or My drone. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. I think it's Me. From Xiaomi, the Xiaomi Me. This is actually a very advanced quadcopter, folks. More advanced than I normally review here on Quadcopter 101 channel. So advanced that I made a little cheat card here to make sure that I cover all the points of this quadcopter. But first I want to go over the quadcopter. Let's look at it. It is a nice GPS quadcopter. And when I say GPS, go away bug, you bother me. This actually uses both three ways of positioning itself, finding position in space. It uses both GPS and GLONASS, which is the Russian version of GPS. And also it uses visual positioning to assist it. I believe these are visual sensors that I believe it detects contrast in the ground beneath it to help also maintain a position in space. If there's movement about, you can use these visual sensors to help in positioning the aircraft to steady its position in space. Additionally, this quadcopter has a 3-axis gimbal system. There's a little fly here. I'm going to move over here, folks. Hopefully that fly will go away. But a 3-axis gimbal, so right and left stabilization, up and down, and tilt stabilization and roll stabilization. So that's pretty much advanced too. The gimbal also has a lot of very nice anti-vibration sensors. And the biggest thing about this quadcopter and its gimbal is its modular design and how it can easily be disassembled and packed for stowage. The gimbal just snaps on and off to this quadcopter. Very quick and easy to install this. Let me make sure that it is installed. You plug it in like so from the front and then push down this one until it snaps. And there you go. It's ready to go in place. Additionally, these landing gear, they fold up. You pull back on this switch and you can make this very flat, say to put inside a backpack. And finally, these propellers, they screw on and off very simply, very easily, very fast. So you could actually assemble this out in the field within a few minutes and be ready to go. You know, pack this inside of a backpack. I'd recommend this orientation here since these seem to be closest together. I think that's the idea, is to be able to put it inside of a backpack and carry this out into the field and fly it. So very advanced quadcopter. Let me go make sure I'm covering all the points on the quadcopter itself. I mentioned it has GLONASS. The camera on this is a 1080p. The version I got is a 60 frames per second camera. There is a 4K version available for this, but at a much greater cost. Let's see, it has orientation lighting on this. It has on the left rear is a red light, and on the right rear is a green light. So you can tell whether the left is pointing toward you in space or the right is pointing toward you in space. And you can remember if you see a red light, all you got to do is turn, that means you have the left side pointed toward you. All you need to do is turn left to point it back toward you until you see the white lights in the front. If you see a green light, just remember green, right. And if you see the green light, make a right turn and you'll point the quadcopter back in your general direction. The battery on this is a large, let me show you this battery, 17.4 volt, 5100 milliamp hour battery. It's predicted to give this quadcopter, it's a smart battery too, by the way, but it's predicted to give this quadcopter up to 27 minutes of flight time. And with that 27 minutes of flight time, you can actually determine how much flight time you got by the app, and I'll go into that shortly. But if you do run out of battery power, this quadcopter will return both on loss of signal. If it doesn't pick up the transmitter anymore, it will return to home and land, or return back to until it receives the signal again from the transmitter. Or if you activate return to home button, it will return to home and land. And finally, it calculates how far away it is from you and whether it should return on its own based on the battery power. If the battery power gets too low and it says, hey, it's getting kind of low and I'm kind of far out here, it calculates the distance needed and the power needed to get back and land. And if it exceeds that or gets close to that, it will actually automatically execute a return to landing on low battery. Let's see, make sure I've covered everything so far. Okay, I did. Let's go into the transmitter now. Transmitter, nice ergonomic design, nice feel on this transmitter. Very simple looking transmitter, not much to it. You have an on-off switch, which you activate by a quick press and a long press. You have an automatic takeoff and an automatic landing button, which you activate by a quick press and a long press. You have a return to home button, which you activate by sliding to the right, or normal flight, which is sliding to the left. The back buttons on here, this button B with the little recess, you can feel the recess, is for starting and stopping the video. Button A on the back is for taking a photo. The scroll wheel next to the video button is for raising and lowering the tilt on the 3-axis gimbal. The scroll wheel on the right, I am not sure. I could not find any reference what this can do. I've tried it already at home while activating the quadcopter. It didn't seem to do anything with my particular camera. It may be actually for the 4K version of the quadcopter, which I do not have. The antennas on this, if you notice, they're flat. What these are printed circuit board antennas that, to go with both the control of the quadcopter and for reception of FPV. Both of these are 2.4 gigahertz antennas for reception of and transmission on 2.4 gigahertz. This transmitter transmits on 2.4 gigahertz, and the FPV transmitter in the quadcopter and the telemetry data comes also back on 2.4 gigahertz. But the way they avoid interference is both of these transmitters do frequency swapping on 450 different frequencies, looking for the ones that provide the least amount of interference. Because of that, they're predicting range with the 1080p version of this quadcopter, 1080p camera version, out to 1 kilometer, which is pretty darn far. And for the 4K version, out to 2 kilometers, which is astounding in range. Now, keep in mind, if you live in the U.S., you're not allowed to do that. You know, you're not supposed to currently fly further than line of sight. But other countries where you can do that, that's pretty damn cool. So keep that in mind. Let's see, I think I covered all the transmitter. Make sure I did. Data and charging plugs. I gotta show this. Notice that I have a smartphone attached to this transmitter with a cable running down into the transmitter itself. What this is for is to relay the data from the app, and we'll go into the app here shortly, back and forth between the transmitter and the quadcopter. This is how the quadcopter is connected with the app. It's the Me UAV app, which is the heart of the system for the advanced features of this quadcopter. It's MI space UAV. Now that app is not available on Google Play yet, and also it's not available yet for Android or Apple systems, iOS systems. It's only available for Android, and you have to get it from Xiaomi's forum site. I'll include a link to this app down in the comment section. Additionally, the official version of the app is currently in Chinese only. Fortunately, one of the fans of this quadcopter and one of the users on the Xiaomi forum site took it upon himself to convert that app. I guess it uses the XLS files of that app, and he translated it into there's an unofficial English version, and that's what I have running in this phone. Now, since it was an unofficial version of the app, I decided to use an old phone that I had, an old Android phone. I didn't want to take chances. Maybe there's something else included in that app. I don't know. I don't think there is. It seems to run fine. Don't seem to have any issues in terms of malware. But keep in mind that the English version is not an official version from Xiaomi. The official version is in Chinese. Now, with that app, you use that app to determine the status of the satellite reception and GPS reception of the quadcopter. You also use that app for calibrating the quadcopter. Say the compass calibration for the quadcopter is done through the app, and also calibration of the sticks on this transmitter. You also use the app for reception of the FPV signal. It's 720p FPV, which you receive through the app onto your phone. The app allows you to fly the quadcopter. This particular quadcopter can be flown to a point in space. On them, it has a data connection. I believe it's to actually Google Maps, and you can use Google Maps to set position in space where to fly. Or if you're out in the boonies like I am here, you can set range and bearing from your position and say fly over there with the app, and it will do so. It also, you can set waypoints, fly to that point, then to that point, then to that point, and the quadcopter will do such with that app. And finally, the app also has Circle Me. You can set a point in space and adjust the range from that point in space and tell the quadcopter to circle that position, and it will focus on that position. Or you can use the scroll wheel and adjust the yaw while it's circling to look at in other directions while it is circling that point in space. So that's pretty darn cool. One thing about the app that I don't like, it has, at least it says it has it, we'll find out here today, it says it has beginner's restrictions. What is that? It says, the app says that it will not allow you to fly further than 100 meters from your position or higher than 50 meters until you complete 5 hours of flight time with the quadcopter. I don't know why they included that, and if that's actually included, we'll verify it here today. But if they did include such a restriction, that's a big con, in my opinion. You should be able to fly as designed from the get-go. You know, what about advanced flyers? They're not going to like that at all. Let's see, I mentioned the app is in Chinese, and I think that's about it. We are going to go right into a flight of this. Notice the way I got the antennas pointed before we do go into the flight. I got them pointed down because of the camera, or the phone is in the way, and I got them pointed a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, and also a little bit pointed outwards. Well, it's like that. Supposedly that gives you the best reception on the quadcopter and the best transmission to the quadcopter if you're holding it like this. You want to keep the flat panels, flat side of the antenna pointed toward the quadcopter while it's out and about. So that's why I got it out like that. And I like to hold my transmitter more or less like this. So I got it pointed upward a bit because the quadcopter is going to be up in space. So I think we are ready to go for a flight. So to do such, let's go find a spot to take off. Relatively flat spot, and I've picked one already. And on top of that, I am going to draw an X in the ground so we know exactly where it took off from. And we'll place the quadcopter on top of the X, like so. Okay, we are going to set it up right now to show you how you set this quadcopter up for flight. First off, I got my phone turned on, and I don't have the app open just yet, but to turn on the transmitter, you got to press quick press and then a long press. And I got to do a long press again. Okay, let's try that again. Quick press to see the lights, and then a long press until you hear the beep. Okay, now we got it. This is started. And the next thing we need to do is go into the settings of this quadcopter, or settings of this phone. But we go into the settings, and we go down to more, and then find tethering and portable hotspots. And we want to turn on USB tethering. And we are tethered from this phone to this transmitter. So you got to go into tethering and hotspots, tethering and hotspots, and select USB tethering. Turn that on. And now we are ready to open the app. Actually, before we open the app, we need to turn on the quadcopter and bind the quadcopter to the transmitter. Quick and a long press. And now we open the app. And the app is MiUAV. Now, for MiUAV to work, you need to be able to originally log into the Mi site and do one initial login via this app to the Mi site to be able to use it. But I've done that already before we came out here. Again, I don't have any data reception at where I'm at right now, so we're flying without data reception just to show that it is possible. You hit next, Then it says checking firmware. And it can't do that because we don't have any data out here. And we'll see if it goes past that. And it goes right into the app. And right now I have 15 GPS satellites. And so I am ready to take off. Now I didn't have to do a compass cal, but I want to show you how to do a compass cal because that's very important with this quadcopter. So we go into the menu settings by pressing that button, and we'll select compass calibration, which is there. It says keep the landing gear open, do not hold the landing gear, avoid model, and it says start calibration. We'll press that button there. Now it says turn it clockwise. Keep the level, UAV level, and turn it clockwise and rotate until the green light goes out. And clockwise being this matter. Okay, horizontal rotation. We're rotating, rotating, rotating. Okay, it says that's completed. And we hit next. And again, it's showing that the battery should be up. So holding the battery up, we're rotating again. I think I might be turning the wrong direction, but we'll find out here shortly. There, we finally got a check. So that's how you do it, folks. I just wanted to make sure you saw how we got a check mark. We're ready to go there. So we should be good to go. Okay, we're backing out, going back to the app. And now to see what the FPV looks like, you've got to select this camera. And the camera is selected, and I'm readjusting my antennas like so. We are good to go. Okay, we have currently 20 satellites with the quadcopter. We have endurance of 28 minutes since I was monkeying around with it for the, the compass stance. I am going to be recording camera today. So I'm turning on the camera and hitting the record button on the back of the button here. It says internal fault. Wait, and I'll lose the camera when I hit that. I don't know why I lost the camera. How about I hit the photo button? Pressing the recording button again, turning it back off. Well, let's go back to this. And coming. Okay, should be recording, but it's not. And I'm not seeing video from it. Okay, I see video from the camera. Let's take off. Let's do a automatic takeoff first off. Pressing the button like so. So the takeoff was successful. I want to activate the camera. Let's look at the stability of the quadcopter with 20 satellites. Starting the camera. Okay, I should be recording. 3-4 seconds of recording. Okay, so let's fly around. Okay, the camera says it's not recording now. I don't know why that's not recording. Well, it's saying 18 seconds, so I think it's recording, but I lost my FPV signal. But right now, I want to see if this is true about the supposed 50 meters. We'll go out 100 meters. We'll go over to the Joshua trees over there and see if we run into any roadblock in the sky, in effect. I don't have FPV signal, and I don't really care. I want to demonstrate the camera. It says it's recording. Hopefully it is recording. Okay, I guess I've reached 100 meters. It's not letting me go any further. It says distance 100 meters. So yes, this does have a roadblock in the sky. It won't let beginners fly further than 100 meters. which is a shame. You know, a lot of people would like to fly further than 100 meters. Let's try its return to home ability. Since we're out there at 100 meters, I am going to hit the return to home switch.
Phone is disconnected.
Phone is disconnected. Let's see what it does with a return to home. Seems to climb first. Now it's flying back toward me. Or it's leveling off. And it's flying back toward me.
Phone is disconnected.
Yeah, phone is not disconnected. I have it plugged in. Yeah, it's right overhead. Now I got an X on the ground marking where it took off from. I want to see how accurate that return to home is.
Phone is disconnected.
No, it is not disconnected. Here it comes down. There's the X on the ground. Well, reasonably accurate. I'd say about a half meter. So that's pretty darn good. Let's see here, reconnect. Phone is disconnected. Next. I don't know if it recorded or not, folks. We're reconnecting the phone. And I don't know why it did that. It says the phone was disconnected. Now it's checking hardware again. We're going to wait until it reconnects. It tells us we have GPS unable to connect to remote control. Okay, is the remote control turned off? It's on. So what we're going to do is start over from the beginning by turning off the quadcopter. And we'll put the quadcopter this time on the X again. We're going to break out of the app. Turn off the transmitter. And we're going to start over from step one. This time I'm going to turn on the app first. We're going to turn the app on first. Now it says turn on the remote. Remote's coming on. Remote is on. Now it turns on USB connected. We don't want that. We're going to hit that button there. Then we're going to turn on the quadcopter. Keep in mind, folks, this time I turned on the app first, then the remote, then the quadcopter. So we got that connected. Hitting next. Well, we got to go open USB network sharing and mobile phone setting. You got to do this every time. Press again to exit. So we go into settings. Go into settings. I can hear a helicopter way far away, but he wouldn't be coming up this canyon. It's dangerous for him to come up this canyon. Then we go to tethering. USB tethering. Tethering hotspot active. Going back to the app. Hitting Me UAV. So we got this on, we got that on, and the app is activated. We should be able to hit next. It's checking hardware again. Checking firmware. UAV internal fault. Remote control. Return home. Oh, yeah, I do have that turned on. Let's turn that off. Okay. So that's turned off. So we should be good to go. This time we're going to do a manual launch, turning on the camera. I'm not seeing anything from the camera, but I'm going to hit recording anyways. I'm hoping that it's recording. We don't have any visual, and I don't know why that is. Okay. Starting the quadcopter manually this time. And taking the air. And this time we'll fly around the area. We'll go out to its 100-meter range.
Home point set successfully. Phone is disconnected.
It says phone is disconnected. I don't know what that is, folks. Apparently this app needs some work. Keep in mind this was the unofficial version of this app. So I don't know, what to say. I'm going to try the Chinese version. I think I know what the buttons do, but I would really wish they came out with an official version of this app. But boy, it flies so smoothly. It is a good flyer, I'll give you that. And it's just a shame that it won't let you fly farther than 100 meters. I hope it's recording. But I can't guarantee that. So we'll fly it around for a while, just to show it flying. I'm giving up right now on its ability to fly FPV. And I'm coming down a little lower because we're going to do low passes through the Joshua trees. Very smooth flyer, by the way, though. I think I said that already. I'll show you how smooth. Let's go over here. Oh, it's 100 meter. It's got its 100 meter restriction. I got to fly this for 5 hours to be able to fly it further than 100 meters. Which is a shame that they had put something like that into the quadcopter. But yeah, God, it's a nice flyer. I gotta admit that. Let's check its stability again. Okay, wonder if there's any visual indication whether it's recording or not. I'm going to press that record button again. I'm not seeing any visual indication on the quadcopter itself. I don't know if it's recording or not, but we'll go out again. Either way, I am going to demonstrate its flight ability today. And that the app needs more work. And it has 100 meters, 50 meters altitude restriction. Let's check that altitude restriction. I don't know if it's recording or not. But let's put it overhead. And I am going to point the camera downward and see if I got control of the camera. I got control of the camera. I can see it pointing downward. Let's bring it right overhead. And we'll set it up and see if we do have 50 meter restriction where it won't go up any higher. Going up, 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 up. Let's see how high it'll go. It's still climbing. Right there. So yeah, I guess it's got 50 meter restriction. It won't go any higher, which is a shame. Putting the camera back up again if it's still recording, that is. And coming down. Putting some forward flight on it. Now, with all these quadcopters, especially these big heavy ones, if you're coming down, always put some vertical or some forward movement on the quadcopter. That lessens the chance of vortex ring state. I did notice that this seems to have some vortex ring state issues when it was doing its automatic landing, so it was wobbling a bit. So it helps to always keep some forward movement on the quadcopter as you're descending to eliminate that problem. But yeah, the Xiaomi Yi seems to be a nice stable flyer. I'll give you that. It's just I don't like its dependence on the app. It would have been nice if they included a 5.8 gigahertz version of this. so that you could use like bow scan goggles. Would be really nice. But yeah, nice stable flyer. Again, extremely steady, like they said. And I got a lot of wind coming right now. Let's see how it handles that wind. It's real breezy. I don't know if you can hear that in the microphone, but it's handling the wind real well. Okay, that's enough for today. I just wanted to do a quick test. We're going to go on, and I got other things to fly today. So we'll go over here and land where I took off from. I'll use the automatic landing button this time. Find that flat surface where I took off from, which is right about there. And we'll do an automatic landing. I guess you got a quick press, then long press. Yeah. And there we go. And just in case it was recording, I'm going to press the record button one more time. I don't know what to tell you, folks, why this keeps losing connection, but it does. Let's turn off the quadcopter now. So, first thoughts on this quadcopter. The version of the app that I was using was not an official version. But it's the only version that was in English, so that's all I had to work with. I'm sorry if that was the cause of the dropout, why this app kept dropping out. I'm sorry if that's the problem. But I was not able to get the app to work correctly with the quadcopter. I didn't have visual FPV, and I'm not really sure whether I was recording off the camera. The quadcopter itself is very nice, a very nice flyer, very smooth. Its return to home was relatively accurate. Even though the app was not connected, we were able to fly the quadcopter without the app, and that's good. But it still had that 100-meter restriction. Somehow it knew that it wasn't going to exceed 100 meters. So I guess that's keeping track inside the quadcopter, not inside the app itself. Okay, that restriction is built inside the quadcopter, keeping track of the time until I get 5 hours of flight time with it, which I think is rather excessive. So that's the first look at the Xiaomi Mi from Quadcopter 101 channel. Subscribe if you like this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.